and they go in search of holy persons. So that is a way to get rid of the ignorance. The more and more we are inclined towards the worldly enjoyments, worldly pleasures. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. Hankering after pleasures. Hankering. So that mad rush towards the enjoying the things, or getting ourselves more and more entangled in the worldly objects, we are losing our way thoroughly. So, out of infinite grace, the Divine Spirit incarnates itself to show us the way to learn the things. Sri Ramakrishna himself, how wonderfully he has stated, as long as I live, so long do I learn. What a wonderful statement. If you have that attitude of learning, then you will not become egoistic. You will not become proud, and you will not be hostile to the society or to the country. You will be always trying to help whatever way your part you can do. So learning, so life is given to us to learn, to work for liberation. And these saints and sages, incarnations, they come to show the way. Those who find that here is a way we can have some hope to raise ourselves from sorrow and suffering. The whole world, if we look upon as the very body of the Divine Lord, the Divine Spirit, His form is this universe. His form is this whole universe. When you have that attitude, you feel the whole universe is consecrated, and you feel reverence, and you will do your work. Whatever work you may be doing, you do it with dignity and grace. Do it with all humbleness. And the idea of service one can practice if he tries to understand the things in a proper way. Now here, Master Mahasaya coming in contact with the great incarnation Sri Ramakrishna, he was completely overpowered, or I should say he was completely transformed even in the first visit itself. It seems he had some kind of awakening from the deep slumber of ignorance, awakening from false idea of the world and the things, awakening from the false idea of learning and education, scholarship. For the first time, he was so much attracted by the wonderful simplicity of the great personality. And the most cheerful personality Sri Ramakrishna was. His whole being was full of pure love and affection towards everybody. No trace of selfishness, no trace. For the first time he could see such a divine person, God in the human form. Many people have heard about it, many people have read in the books, but few people have come across in their actual life such people they could see even in this world. So, we must rise to that level of divinity, that is spiritual life. First of all, we must become thorough human beings. Many times we feel we don't even cherish the human values. We don't know how to behave in a proper way. So first of all, let us learn to become human in every respect. Concern for others, giving due respect to everyone. That way, we can develop our human personality. When once we develop to that level, then we become qualified to step into this realm of spirituality. Then only we would appreciate the value of the spiritual life. How we are very careless about things. We are careless about following disciplines. We are careless about studying, understanding, discussing, implementing. In every stage how we are failing. How can we expect any kind of illumination or any kind of improvement in the life? So every step is important. Every moment of time is important. Every practice is important. So we must live the life in a highly practical way. Sri Ramakrishna came to show us that practical life. He spoke what he meant, what he did. That is Sri Ramakrishna. He was truth himself. He was purity himself. He was perfection himself. So he could vibrate. He could send vibrations of purity, vibrations of divinity, vibrations of perfection all around. It is tremendous divine attraction. Tremendous. And Master Maharshi felt that irresistible divine attraction. So, Sri Ramakrishna appeared like a huge magnet, and Master Maharshi, a small iron filing just nearby that huge magnet. What would happen? It simply sucks in. Sri Ramakrishna did that. He simply sucked him. There is no way of escape from Sri Ramakrishna. And he felt immensely peaceful even in that first visit. That's very important point. The first impression was the best impression. And it carried on throughout his life. And his life became blessed. He got fulfillment in the life. And Sri Ramakrishna gave thorough training how one should act upon, how one should perform duties, how one should look upon one another. All these things have been dealt with meticulously, and Sri Ramakrishna never neglected any aspects regarding these things. So when Master Mahasaya was about to take leave, when he said he would be going back home, Sri Ramakrishna very tenderly, very lovingly told him to come again, with smiling. And that impressed him very much, very much. Even while returning, he was thinking about that. What? He has asked me to come again. What sweetness! What self-effacement! Tremendous personification of humility, humbleness. Wonderful person. I have never experienced this kind of love and concern for me. For the first time I am visiting him. Even then I got the impression that I am very close to him and he is very close to me. That feeling of coming near, coming so close was felt by Master Mahasaya. So, without any excuse, without giving any reasons, Master Mahasaya came again to meet Sri Ramakrishna. Even while coming, he was feeling more and more joy. A fine experience of peace inside. He could feel that. And in that feeling, he is coming to Sri Ramakrishna. Religion does not mean to approach God in a dogmatic way. Religion is pure. It embraces all the people in the universe. Sri Ramakrishna came to preach that religion of infinite Catholicity, infinite dimension. He came to show us what is real and what is unreal. He pointed out what are the obstructions in our spiritual path. Why we are not able to make any steady progress in our spiritual life. What is the meaning of knowledge? What is knowledge? What is ignorance? So by his practical life, Sri Ramakrishna gave the correct interpretation of the knowledge. the correct interpretation of ignorance. What is vidya? What is avidya? What is death? What is immortality? What is God? Where is He? How to see Him? How to have enlightenment? How to have illumination? How to get real peace in the life? All these points have been dealt with by Sri Ramakrishna in very effective way in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. All these teachings were in the Vedas. They were all in the Holy Scriptures. But Sri Ramakrishna validated all these things by his actual life. He showed that religion is realization. Religion is practical, intense life of spirituality. So we must look religion from this point of view, that at no point of time we should dilute the quality of spirituality. Often we try to give reasons for whatever we do in a philosophical way, giving the impression that everything is spiritual. But immediately they will come to know in their life that what they were talking is not spirituality. Spirituality requires certain qualifications, just as persons require some degree in education for entering into any job. Even so, to enter into spiritual realm, we must have degree on noble virtues. Without acquiring spiritual qualities, we will not be able to appreciate spirituality at all. We will not be able to enjoy the effect of spirituality unless we are well established in the noble virtues which Lord Krishna has given. In Bhagavad Gita, Abhayam Sattvasham Suddhihi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Dhanam Damascha Yajnascha Swadhyaya Stapa Arjavam. It continues. Where are we? Where are we? What steps are we taking to have our character well established? Every moment we are cheating ourselves. We are cheating our mind. The mind is cheating us and we are cheating it. We are living a life of hypocrisy. How can we expect spirituality? We are full of egoism, full of arrogance, full of haughtiness, how can we expect any spirituality? So on these points, Sri Ramakrishna has dealt with very clearly. There is no ambiguity. The first and foremost quality required for entering into spiritual life is that we must become free from ego. We must be free from arrogance. We must be free from haughtiness. We should approach the teacher with this minimum quality of humbleness, straightforwardness, fearlessness, mind set into sattvic state, sattva samshuddhi. And when our mind is set into that highest state of sattvic condition, then we aspire for knowledge. Then we hanker after knowledge. Then we become very much serious about being taught into spirituality. That is why we find when Master Mahashaya came and talked with Sri Ramakrishna, first of all he wanted to remove all the obstructions in the life of Master Mahashaya. The first thing he did was he gave a severe blow on his ego. That was eye-opener. Master Mahashaya had thought he was a very great scholar because he was a teacher in the school, very learned in the ordinary material sense. Sri Ramakrishna never go to any school or colleges, but he was the most wise of all the wise people. So what he did, he just made him understand that knowledge means to know God, to see God, to realize God, to experience God realization, to experience that high state of enlightenment and illumination. That is called knowledge. Everything else is trash. Everything else is false. Everything else is untrue. So we must hit upon that knowledge. We must try all our energy to acquire that. We must approach the real teacher who has experienced that, who has that knowledge himself. So Sri Ramakrishna had that. Before imparting that divine knowledge to Master Mahashaya, he wanted to purify his mind. He wanted to remove that black cobra, which was ego. That I am so and so, I know this, I know that. He gave a severe blow to that. And what is avidya? Ignorance. Not to know God is called avidya. That is called ignorance. When he crushed his ego again and again, Master Mahasaya became more soft and soft in his mind. He became receptible to receive the divine knowledge from Sri Ramakrishna. He had all other virtues such as honesty, integrity. These things were there, and Sri Ramakrishna raised him. One may be in a very high position, but if he is not cautious, if he allows his ego to overrule him, if he is under the control of his ego, then he is completely destroyed. There is a famous episode in Mahabharata. There was a great king who was great because of his virtues. He loved the people, he served them, he looked after their needs in every respect. He became the object of love. People loved him very much. He performed many Vedic yajnas. Because of all these meritorious deeds, he was very heavily rewarded. What was that reward? He was given the celestial region. He was a king hitherto in the material plane. Now he was to become the king of the celestial beings in the heavens. That position, that special honor was given to him because of his meritorious deeds. At that moment, he didn't aspire for the realization of the divine Lord. So, he was given this highest reward. Suppose he had not desired, or suppose he had rejected this position of becoming king of the heavens, probably he would have got the realization of God. Well, he was good, very good, but power makes one drunk. He became arrogant in course of time, because where in that heavenly region he could enjoy whatever he wanted, nobody to obstruct him. All the different gods and goddesses, the angels, what we call, thousands of devatas are there to serve him, whatever he wanted. Just if he desired, that will be there. So he became enamored of the enjoyment of the pleasures. But then, because of that position, he slowly became more and more egoistic, more and more arrogant. He began to look with lustful eyes the wives of other gods and goddesses. In fact, he wanted to have pleasure with the consort of Indra, the previous king. So he made the Saptarshis, the 7 rishis who are noted for illumination and enlightenment. He called them, he ordered them to carry the palanquin to the place where he wanted to meet that lady. He was so much full of lust in his mind. He was shouting again and again at the rishis, "What? Go quicker. Why are you going slowly?" In that process, he humiliated the rishis who were carrying that palanquin. And in that process, he even kicked one of the rishis. That's the end of it. Then one of the rishis told him point blank, "Look, all your merits get destroyed this moment. We have lost the merit of staying in the heavens. Do you know now where you have to go? You will have to take the body of Python, big snake lying on the ground. Go and have that body of the Python. The person who rose to that highest state, look how he came down because of his ahankar, ego." So we must all note this point. We shouldn't have any kind of egoism if we have to understand and live spirituality. Another point which I would like to say in the last class, and these are the comments which I am making of the last reading in the previous class. Sri Ramakrishna said that he offered green coconut and sugar on the recovery of Keshav's ill health. What does it show? Sri Ramakrishna validated the traditions. It means we can pray the divine to remove our suffering. We must establish link between ourselves and the God, and God will surely fulfill whatever we want. Lord Krishna himself tells in the Gita, "Arto jigyasur jnani cha bharatarshapha." 4 types of people seek my help. Who are those? Those who are in distress. "Oh Lord, kindly lift me from this bad situation." Another set of people, they want money, they want wealth, they want property, they want this, that. They pray God for that. Third set of people, they have got the nature of inquiring what is what. They want to know the exact nature of God. So they pray. And lastly, those who aspire for knowledge. Anyway, all these different types of people worship and pray the Divine Lord. Somehow they come in contact with Him. Because of their coming in contact with the Divine Lord, chances are there for their improvement in their life. So, the traditions, they are not superstition, they are well-meant. They are all meant with some feeling. God is not something that is foreign, it is our very own. It is nearest and dearest. God is our nearest and dearest. So again and again we have to understand this fact. For everything we have to run to God, not to anybody else. The second point was about the performance of duties. There was a person who came to see Sri Ramakrishna, and after 1 or 2 days he expressed the desire that he wanted to stay there, expect any spirituality. So he scolded him. Who will look after your wife and children? Do you think the neighbors will come and look after them? Are you not ashamed of that? You are married. Is it not your duty to look after them? Go and join some appointment. Work hard. Look after them. The same thing has been said in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna says, Niyatan kuru karma, tvam karma jayo hyakarmana. Do thy duty. That's it. By doing the duty properly, we become qualified for higher life. Not otherwise. So, he made us to understand that avoiding the duties is not the way to spirituality. Then the third point which Sri Ramakrishna mentioned in the course of his talks with Master Mahashaya, that God has forms, at the same time He is without forms. For the first time, Master Mahashaya came to know how these contradictory terms can happen. Sri Ramakrishna says, whatever way you have got faith, you follow that. What do you believe? Master Mahashaya said, I believed in God without form. Good. Have it. But don't say that all other opinions are wrong and yours only is correct. Don't have that impression. You follow what you want to do. Then he was asking whether God is really present in the image. He was under the impression Why people worship the images, clay images? Sri Ramakrishna pointed out, it is the image of the spirit. Acharya Ramanuj, one of the great acharyas, he has emphasized on the worship of the image. God's manifestation is felt in the images. If the images are served properly, one can have the direct experience of the God. And Sri Ramakrishna himself had that experience. He himself worshipped Mother Kali and he got illumination. What more we want? So, it depends upon individual temperament. Accordingly, we must proceed onwards. Who has shown how to live in this world without getting entangled. How to perform one's duties in the world at the same time be not attached to the world. It's a technique, a unique technique which has been given by Sri Ramakrishna so that everyone can practice spirituality even if he is in the world. That is really wonderful thing. What is there in this world after all? There is more misery than happiness. There is more grief and sorrow. There is more pain than anything else. So, how to make our life, in spite of all these difficult situations, circumstances, how to live our life joyfully, that Sri Ramakrishna has very clearly shown the way. If at all we aspire for real joy in the world. But many people, they just don't want this type of spiritual joy, which they think might be very difficult for them to achieve. But Sri Ramakrishna has warned, if we do not give proper attention to our ways of doing the things, then nobody can save us. We will be more and more in bondage. We will be more and more in the world. Again and again, we will have to come to this world and suffer and suffer and suffer. Unless we change the attitude, there is no way of getting out of suffering. It means we must know. Probably through suffering, some people will come to know whether there is any way. Well, that is why Sri Ramakrishna is very particular about these things. In the last class, I have read from page 81 to 82. It deals with these practical hints. Two things he has very clearly pointed out. One is to take control of the mind. Use the mind properly. Secondly, the process of vichar, that is analysis. You must constantly distinguish what is real and what is unreal. The idea is, when you are sure that certain thing is not real, it means you must reject it. It means you must not worry over the unreal things. And then he has shown how to make use of this mind, how to get into the spiritual life. In a very simple way, Sri Ramakrishna has shown the ways of keeping this mind clear. What it is, a God, but you must know it is divine name. Repeat the name constantly. Sing his glories. Keep holy company. Make more visits to devotees. These are some of the important ways of fixing the mind on God. Then, of course, we have to practice meditation. Before stepping into meditation, we must go into solitude, where we would be able to think deeply without any external disturbance. Then we have to discriminate between the real and the unreal. Whenever you conclude that certain things are not real because they constantly keep on changing. So once you are convinced about the unreality of things, you must immediately be ready to get rid of them. Your mind must not be allowed to dwell on such matters. Now, sometimes people would ask, Master, how ought we to live in the world? No, we can't go away from the world. We are having family, children, so many things are connected with us. It is not at all easy for us to shake off everything, renounce everything, get away to forest or some place where one can completely immerse oneself in spiritual practices. It is not possible for all the people like us, ordinary people. So this question the devotees they posed, they asked the Master. The Master said very compassionately, good. I am not telling to get away from the world. Be in the world by all means, but know the ways of living in the world. How to live in this world, that is very important. That's the point which we should concentrate. Then Sri Ramakrishna tells about the performance of one's duties. Sure, he has got certain duties to be fulfilled. That is the way. So do your duties by all means. It must be done. Niyatam kuru karma, tvam karma. You must do. Lord Krishna also tells in the Gita. But one thing you must not forget. Do your duties, but keep your mind on God. If you remove God from mind and go on doing duties, instead of getting better, you become worse. Because in the final analysis, you become deeply attached in the garb of the duties. You are overwhelmed in the worldly entanglements, which you would not be able to shake off. So then Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of the maid servant. She is working in the house of a rich man. She fondles the children there. She calls the children of that wealthy man as her own. She says, you are my boy, you are my child, I love you very much, etc., etc. She loves, no doubt. But in the heart of heart, her real love is towards her own child, towards her own home in the native village. And he gives the example of the tortoise. It moves about swiftly in the waters, but her mind is always on the bank where the eggs are laying. So these are the examples which Sri Ramakrishna has given to us to pinpoint a very important fact that we should keep the mind on God and do whatever the things in the world. Wonderful. Then he gives the example of how the person who has not developed any love towards God, if he just enters into the world, he becomes more and more involved and entangled, as a result of which he would be facing many dangers, various types of sorrows, grief, etc. Big list. Well, what Sri Ramakrishna is pointing out here is, first you cultivate the love for God. It's very important. You must develop a taste for God's name. Somehow you must develop that quality. Then once you have that love of God, then nobody can disturb you. You are 100% safe, even though you are in the midst of the ocean of the world. You will not be drowned, rather you will be floating on the waters. That's the beauty. He gives the example of the jackfruit. Suppose you cut open the jackfruit with your hands, the milk of the fruit, it sticks to your hand. It becomes very hard. It will be very difficult for you to open and remove the fruits. It becomes extremely difficult. But then, before opening the jackfruit, you smear your hands with the oil. Then you cut open the jackfruit. It comes very easily. The milk of the fruit doesn't stick to your hand because of the oil in the hand. So here Sri Ramakrishna tells we must develop, we must cultivate the love of God. This love of God is the oil. If you have it, then you be in the world, you will not be contaminated by worldliness. So, he is again and again telling, first we must cultivate the oil of divine love. We must secure it. That's very important. To get it, you must go to solitude, you must go to temple, you must go to a place where you feel that vibration, where you can have that experience, where you can recall the spiritual vibrations. By constantly living and thinking about God in the holy place, the mind acquires knowledge, dispassion and devotion. Very important. If these three are there, then we are safe and safe. What is in the world? Only two things: lust and wealth. The whole world is just comprised of these two things. So mind is put into these things, it is drowned. It is drowned in the ocean of lust and wealth. It doesn't know how to get up afterwards. So that is why Sri Ramakrishna again gives the example to make it more clear. Water and milk. If the water and milk come together, then milk becomes one with water and you will not be able to find out even the trace of the milk. If there is a large quantity of water and little quantity of milk. But then, you turn the milk into curd, then churn it, make the butter, then put that butter in the water, it floats. You can very distinctly see the butter in the water. Two separate. What is separate? Butter is separate. Previously you would not distinguish at all what is milk, what is water. The whole thing appears as water itself. So, the milk should be kept in a place where there is no disturbance so that it can be converted into curd. That's what here Sri Ramakrishna is hinting, that we should occasionally go into solitude or a holy place or a temple so that the mind gathers its energy, so that the mind is not deviated in so many distractions. That's the way of keeping it in solitude. You must be able to spend at least about half an hour or about 1 hour or so. If you keep on doing it regularly, you will appreciate the value of it. So by doing that, it gets into a state of curd. Then you must make use of that mind, thinking about God. You will acquire knowledge. You will acquire love towards Him. And this knowledge and love, this is called the butter. So this mind thus cultured in this manner, if this mind is kept in this world, it is no more entangled. It is free from any kind of distractions. So Sri Ramakrishna in his teachings in these 2 pages has made it very clear. Develop, cultivate the love of God, then do whatever the things in the world. Side by side, use your intellect, always have that attitude of discrimination between what is real and what is unreal. Sharpen your intellect. So, jnana bhakti, both are essential. Jnana bhakti, they are the 2 wings. The bird can fly, only it has got 2 wings. So jnana bhakti are the 2 wings. Both are necessary for us. Then our life will be fulfilled. We get fulfillment and we will be blessed. Master Mahashaya, when he came in touch with Sri Ramakrishna, in the course of Master's talking with him, one thing most remarkable Master Mahashaya felt was that Sri Ramakrishna presented the highest spiritual wisdom, the spiritual knowledge in utterly simple words. It was amazing to him to have seen a person of such caliber. Here is a person who is intensely spiritual, whose expressions are utterly simple. That is a very important observation which Master Mahashaya did. It is exactly true. The men of realization are always very simple, extremely simple. They have found out that if a person had to see God, he should be 100% simple. That means he should be free from egoism. The devotee who has realized God is very certain that it is not he is doing anything in this world, it is everything done by God and God alone. It is God's will that everything is happening. He is firmly convinced of this fact, so he is always at peace and joy. When Master Mahashaya first came to see Sri Ramakrishna, and then he began to come second and third time, he was attracted to Sri Ramakrishna's nectarious words. When Sri Ramakrishna came to know that Master Mahashaya had married, he was very sorry. Further, when Sri Ramakrishna came to know that he had children, again he became very sorry. Master Mahashaya began to think deeply, why Sri Ramakrishna is feeling sorry over this. Is it a sin to marry? Is it a sin to have children? Is it a sin to have house and properties? Is it a sin to love one's own kith and kin? All these questions flashed in his mind. Now the point here is, Sri Ramakrishna is not seeing this as a sin. No, that was not his intention at all. Then why did he become sorry? That's a very important question we should understand properly. When Sri Ramakrishna came to know that Master Mahashaya had married, he became sorry because he has bound himself. The bondage, what we call samsara, bandhan, he has got himself tied down. Then he is having children in course of time, again tying down himself. Why? Because mind gets attached to these things. And his mind is becoming so much busy with things of the world, and he will never find time to think of God. That means a person, he could have avoided getting into bondage, but anyway he has entered into householder's life. That means he is in bondage. So what is to be done? How many people do really know that they have lost their way in the forest? Many people think that they are going in the right way. It's only after a long time of walking through and through, they could not find a way out. Then they will come to conclude that they have lost the way in the forest. Exactly same with respect to the samsaric life. We don't know how we are being dragged down to various things connected with this life. The mind slowly and slowly sinks down, becomes heavier and heavier on account of the weight of the attachment towards things of the world, towards the unreality, and then he has lost the way. But then if he really feels for it, if he feels that he has lost his way, then God shows him the way by showering grace on him. So only few people who learn through suffering. Most of the people do not learn at all, like camel eating the thorny bush. Though the blood is oozing out, still it never stops eating thorny bush. So people are like that, even though they are undergoing lot of suffering and misery in the world, they do not give up attachment. So they are completely lost. So now Sri Ramakrishna only wanted to know whether he has been in bondage or he is on the threshold. Now Sri Ramakrishna came to know that he is married. So now what is to be done? Now somebody has to guide. A person who knows the fairest ways alone can guide people to get out of the forest. In the same way, men of spirituality can only lead people who are lost in the way. So that is the important point that we should know here. And that is why Sri Ramakrishna very emphatically points out that to see God, there are some means. You must go to solitude now and then, spend some time repeating the divine name, singing his glories, contemplating on him, so on and so forth. At the same time, you must initiate vichara, that is discrimination. You must have the discriminating attitude. You must cultivate the attitude of discrimination. That is distinguishing between what is real, what is not real, what is good, what is bad, what things take towards God, what things do not take towards Him. All these things are called Vichara Shakti. We must develop that. We have that potency in us. We must develop, we must cultivate and try to discriminate. Once you are clear about the thing, then be decisive. Be decisive. When you know it is dangerous, you must not step into that. When you know such a thing is harmful, you must not aspire for it. So one has to find out oneself by applying the intellect. Then he should slowly but steadily turn inward, go Godward. And the effectiveness of getting into the spiritual path is possible only if we have a yearning heart. Sri Ramakrishna stresses this point very well in the passages which I read last time. Yearning heart. How many people do really yearn for God? People yearn for money. People yearn for doing so many things, for property, for acquiring wealth. Well, but how many people do really yearn for God? People cry. Cry for the worldly things. So, here Sri Ramakrishna points out, cry for God. That cry should be real, not hypocritical. Again, Sri Ramakrishna points out how God is to be approached by the combined force of three attractions. The attraction which the worldly man possesses towards worldly things. The attraction the child cherishes with its mother. The attraction between child and its mother. The third one, the attraction between the husband and the chaste wife. So if one could approach God by the combined force of these attractions, one cannot but see God. The point here which Sri Ramakrishna wants to emphasize is that to love God in all sincerity. Love Him. So in order to pinpoint this, Sri Ramakrishna explains giving all these examples. Love with a yearning heart. Pray to Him with all love. He gives the example of cat and kitten. Wherever the cat puts the kitten, it lays there. Whenever it wants, the kitten wants something, it cries, mew, mew, like that. Wherever the cat may be, it is very sensitive, immediately it runs to its child. In the same way, if we cry to Mother, the Divine Mother, she will not keep even for a moment away from the child. She will immediately run and take all care about it. Another point which Sri Ramakrishna has stressed The persons who want to have spiritual path and who are seeking perfection, who want to see God, they should be very careful about their association. That means they should never be associated with the people of wicked nature, people who are not interested in spirituality, people who always criticize God and all things connected with it. Sri Ramakrishna warns that we should never have any association with such type of people. It doesn't mean that we should criticize them or we should disrespect them. No, it doesn't mean any of these things. It only means keep away from such people, keep away. And he gives the example of the tiger. True, God is everywhere. God is in the tiger also. But does it mean that you should go and hug the tiger? So people say, people warn you, look, there is a tiger. Don't go there in that way. It will pounce upon you. The person who is warning is also God. So you must not be stupid. You must use your common sense when doing the things. Sri Ramakrishna, how very nicely explained all these spiritual truths by giving beautiful examples. Again he gave the example of elephant and Mahut. A disciple who was well trained by the teacher that God is present everywhere. So once he was going to the forest to gather the wood, after some time they found an elephant was coming fast running, and people around, they were all scared, they all ran away. The Mahut, the person who controls the elephant, he's shouting from the top, don't come near, go away, go away. But this boy, who thought, what? My teacher has taught me God is everywhere, God is in this elephant, why should I be afraid of it? He stood. But then the elephant did what it wanted to do. It simply took him and threw him aside by its trunk. Then of course the boy was taken to the hermitage and the bruises were all dressed, and when he regained consciousness they all came to know what happened. Then the teacher said, don't you know that the Mahut also is God? He warned you not to come near the elephant. That's it. And Sri Ramakrishna gives another very fine example. Water, for example. Water itself is God. All the Panchamahabhutas, Agni, Vayu, all these are different manifestations of God. But then there are some water which are used only for washing the dirty linen. Some water is used only for washing the utensils, and some is used for worship. So like that, though the water is same, but yet everything has got its purpose. In the same way, though God is present everywhere, we should be careful in understanding the things and take proper steps. But in the last class, we have read from page 85 to 86, Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Master Mahasaya was overwhelmed by the spiritual talks of Swami Sri Ramakrishna. In a very simple way but effectively, how Sri Ramakrishna gave wonderful spiritual ideas, very easy to follow, only we must desire to have that spiritual life. Without that it is not possible. So Sri Ramakrishna is pinpointing where we are making gross mistake, where we are going in a wrong direction. It is here. We are not very much interested in spirituality. We want it somehow, but we want spirituality without any effort on our part, which is impossible. Impossible. Spirituality is to be earned by one and every one and all. Each one will have to struggle. Each one will have to fight out the various forces acting against him. What I would say, there is a kind of spiritual idleness. So we are suffering and suffering and suffering. This spiritual idleness must be completely removed. We must be very active, more active than what we seem to be active in the worldly matters. To give a simple example, even one day in 7 days, how difficult it would be for us to have some spiritual ideas. Out of 100 days, with great difficulty probably, a few people would be able to come 14 days, probably, that is once a week, with great difficulty. 6 days are given to the world. I am putting it in a figurative way. 1 day only we are giving to the spirituality. That is, in thinking about spiritual ideas, trying to understand them, trying to put into practice in our daily life. Unless we discuss, unless we understand, how can you implement them in the life? How can your kids learn the values of spirituality? If the elders themselves do not know about them, how can the children know about them? So, Sri Ramakrishna is giving clear instructions. Be very careful about your association. It's true, God dwells everywhere. Isha-vasimidam sarvam jagat. Lord is pervading everywhere. There is not a single space without the consciousness of the Supreme Spirit. Everywhere God is present. He is present everywhere. That has been proved by a great devotee, Prahlad. Probably some of you might know or some of you might not have read it. In Bhagavad, a beautiful story of a great devotee, Prahlad, who was adoring Lord Vishnu, the Creator, with full devotion, unflinching devotion. His whole heart was given to him. His whole inner being is completely full of God consciousness, which his father would not like. His father had all demonic qualities. He was Asura, full of rajas. He wanted to enjoy power to the maximum. That was his personality. So he wanted to proclaim himself as the most powerful man in the whole universe. Who are gods? Who can dare to come before me? I myself am that. There is nothing like God somewhere else. He became so arrogant, so egoistic. So he began to scold his own dear son not to utter the name of Lord Vishnu. But then Prahlad would not stop. In fact, he told his father, "Father, why are you so much against the divine spirit? He is all loving, full of kindness. Why should you have grudge against him? To me, there is nobody else other than Vishnu. It is he who is creating and protecting the whole creation. It is because of him we are all able to get all our necessities in life. God is everywhere." Of course, a big story it is. Then he began to torture his son. But since he was so devoted, every time he was saved from the difficulties. Finally, the father, his name was Hiranyakashipu. "What? You are again and again telling God is everywhere, everywhere. Let me see if your God Vishnu is in this pillar. If he is there, let him come and save you. I will kill you right now." So he took out the sword and rushed towards his own son to kill him. Just then, what happened? The miracle of the miracles. The pillar got split up. From there emerged a special manifestation of the divine power. Half human, half animal, half lion. Very ferocious. He came with that special manifestation of power just to kill this demon who could not be tamed by anybody. Even gods, the angels were afraid of him. My point is, how could God come through that pillar if he were not there? So this devotee Prahlad, he prayed to the Lord, and the Lord did present through the pillar, and that is how we all came to know about it. So Sri Ramakrishna says,